on this day.
Guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Save the Date. I'm one of your hosts, Heath.
What's good, Joe? This is Jamie. Oh,
And as always, check us out on the socials, TikTok, Instagram, at Save the Date Now, because we're serious about saving the date now.
saving these connections.
Yeah. So today's episode is all about navigating dating apps, building real connections in a virtual space, digital space, virtual.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to talk about some tips we have for how to navigate these dating apps, how to set you up for success and not frustration, because these dating apps be frustrating. They'd be perplexing. They'd be confusing.
How would you know?
Start glitching. Say that's how I know he was part of the Illuminati. That episode, he started glitching.
Yeah. No. I mean, but they definitely can be. And I think we had referenced it before with that windfall of rejection. They can become quite frustrating. And we know what they're designed for. They're designed to keep people on this hamster wheel of swiping, but not really connecting. And so that's what this episode is for. We're trying to give people some practical insight on how to be successful using these dating apps. The first thing I would say, learn how to manage your expectations. When you get on an app, please don't go in there trying to play the numbers game. At least from the perspective of thinking, you'll have more favorable experiences than unfavorable. You probably will have more unfavorable than favorable experiences. So that's the first thing I would say is learn how to manage your expectations. When you get on, let's just say, I don't know, Bumble, POF, Tinder, whatever your poison is, and you get the swiping and you may only get one or two matches that day, be grateful for that. Understanding that, you know, the guy that you want to be that gets all of these multiple swipes probably has things that you don't in his personality or his profile, whether that be a bigger bank account or something material, or just he may be taller, just maybe more cultured than you are, more well-read, or he just may know his text game might just be good enough to be more appealing than what you can offer. So yeah, learning how to manage the expectations. Anything you want to say there?
Yeah. Again, I haven't been on the apps. I've never, ever been on the apps. I've seen the apps, but I've never been on the apps. But one of the things that can come from a theoretical perspective, from the more professor approach, right? Just looking at research, following some really good articles. Nancy Jo Sales, one of my favorite writers, she's written about the digital apps and swiping, especially from a woman's perspective, is why are you on there? Why are you on there? Why are you on there? Are you on there for love? Are you on there for a good time? Are you on there for a mix of both? And you're willing to experiment and find where you're at. And you just need this platform, this playground of swipes to help you determine what really matters and what doesn't really matter. And I get it that no one should feel guilty about being on the apps. One person, a friend of mine, actually said it. Actually, my jiu-jitsu coach, she was just like, it's like a catalog, right? You're just going through a catalog like you would go through a Macy's catalog back in the day, or a Brooks Brother catalog for those who don't understand snail mail. They used to send catalogs to the mail and you would go through it and you say, oh, this is nice. I like that.
You circle what you want for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And you would either submit it or go buy it yourself,
right,
depending on who you are and what your financial situation was. The point is, why are you there? And if you can determine why you're there, then that's going to help you navigate certain conversations and certain feedback you may get with a match. Not every match is for you. It's just a match. I've seen plenty of good-looking people who've looked at me and I've looked at them, but we keep it moving on the street or in the the event we were at. It's fine. It could just be that. But if you're going to speak to somebody, they may find out I'm not the person for them in the first 5 minutes and they're not the person for me. Not a problem. But if you just are on there just to be on there, then that's your reason. I'm on here just to be on here. But you should kind of be playing it with some level of awareness.
And strategy. Yeah. And I was going to say, to your point about people getting on there just to be on there, that's the kind of experience you'll have. You'll get out what you put in. So if you're really not on there to connect, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of matches, especially if you're a guy. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the swiping process is more, women have more control, I guess, in that dynamic.
Especially in Bumble, right?
Well, no, I think in all the platforms, they have to initiate it, I think, on Bumble. But just what I'm talking about is more so when it comes to swiping. I think women have more of a vetting process than guys do. Guys play the numbers game. If I swipe right on 10, at least one or two of them I might match with. You know what I mean? I think that's what a lot of men do. But women use it really more as a vetting process. So have some strategy when you're on here. You can't just expect people to fall into your filter and your funnel because that's how you're using the app.
Well, I swiped, so someone swiped me back. It's just
Yeah,
like,
like
nah.
this, it doesn't work like that. And again, you may not even really be presenting what's appealing visually to women when they read profiles. I know you were telling me a friend of yours was showing you some of these dudes' profiles, and it's
Yeah.
just like, yo, who'd you expect to get on here?
Yeah, like dudes would be writing like capital C, lowercase I, capital T, lowercase Y. It's like, yo, dog, you realize in the 80s, when people wrote like that, we thought you were a serial killer? People who would take
Yeah,
different letters
just
from a
ransom notes.
magazine to create a letter, and it'd be like a big C, a white C, then a black A. And it's just
Yeah,
like, in our generation, that was creepy.
that's the ransom font.
That's the ransom font.
Facts.
Like, oh, wait a minute. Like, what's going on here? Whatever it is, I don't want to be a part of it. Goodbye. And that's so I think, for some men, they're putting themselves out there like that. And it's like, yeah, a lot of women find that to be off
It's
putting.
not appealing. Yeah, I was gonna say that
Even
was
as a
another.
dude, I'm looking at it like, why are you writing like this? Like, just write. Just because it has nothing to do with grammar. If it was grammar, it's something different. Maybe level of education, your comfort. Maybe, hey, I'm on the internet, so this is how I speak when I'm here. When I'm face to face, I actually do speak a little bit more quote unquote proper. But for you to be doing capital C, lowercase I, capital T, lowercase Y, capital N, lowercase E, and it's just like you spend an inordinate amount of time to show yourself off to be just, I would say, a tad creepy.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to say is if you're going to be on these apps, you should probably research some of the trends. If you're a guy, you should probably research some of the trends on what hooks women when they first open a profile. Obviously, vice versa. If you're a woman, you should be looking at what the trends, what guys look at. Do they want to see pictures of you traveling? Do they want to see a picture at the gym? Do they want to see a selfie? Do they want to see something posed? If you're going to be on these apps and you want some kind of success, you should definitely be researching the trends.
Yeah, there was a guy on Instagram I've been coming up in my feed, Asian gentleman, and he is critiquing men's profiles, and he's like, "Look at this guy's profile. Like, good-looking guy, handsome, but I get more likes than him." And he's like, "Here's why." Now, and he went through his profile and he found one picture that was good. He's like, "See this? You're dressed decently, like an adult, essentially, and good lighting. Take off your sunglasses. Why do you have sunglasses on in a picture? It's one thing if I knew you, I don't know you. Take your glasses off. I want to see your face. I need to inspect what's here for me to understand if I want to move forward with a conversation." Basically, you have to de-risk this whole entire process. De-risk it. You
Yeah.
are a risky proposition off top. I don't care if you're 6'4" with washboard abs. You make 800 grand a year off your e-commerce business on Etsy and Amazon. You live in a $10,000 a month apartment and you got a dope Mercedes Benz. You could have a woman's body in there for all people know. We don't know. You have to de-risk the proposition by showing people, hey, I'm competent enough and comfortable enough and confident enough to look you in the face and say, hey, my name is Mark. My name is Steven. This is what I do. And talk to people calmly and respectfully and making sure that you're not leaving like a trail of slime wherever you go. And you do that by showing good pictures that have good lighting that also show your face. If they don't like it, they don't like it. You're not for everybody, guys.
Yeah.
Not everyone likes pasta primavera. You'll be surprised. As
They don't
tasty
like
as
the
it can
gym
be.
selfie. They don't really like the gym selfie.
Yeah.
Or the ones with like your shirt off, or people showing how much, with the money they got with the money fan or something like that, or with the middle finger up. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah, we're not 18 here.
Yeah.
We're 38.
Yeah.
Or I see some guys take group shots with other friends. It's like, why do I need to see your other friends here? This is about you.
Yeah. Especially if
There's
they
other
look
ways
better
you're
than
going to
you.
convince me that
It's
you're
taken away from you.
collegial and kind and you have a good friend network. Hopefully what some women are thinking is you'll actually introduce me to some of these people and claim me in public. That's what they really want.
Right.
That you actually take me to some place, sports bar, whatever, casual, formal, and introduce me to your friends. And that's how I know we actually mean something. We're doing something together.
They're not just people in a picture. Yeah. Especially online on an app. If they look better than you, I'm not even thinking about you no more. So
that's what I'm thinking. All right, you just showed me, you showed me a New York strip steak, and then I saw some, a tomahawk steak. Like, all right, tomahawk.
And
yeah, why would I be looking at the New York? And I like New York strip, but it's like if I'm selecting, I'm going for broke, as they used to say.
I want the Wagyu.
Yeah, exactly.
I want the more expensive. I want the marble steak. That's what I want.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's the truth. Because again, to like, I said the person in my life was saying, it's just a catalog. So you're just showing me what's uniquely tantalizing and delicious to me. That's it. If you show me something else that's more tantalizing, then I'm okay with that. What do you think is number 2 after expectations for you?
Well, that was it. Study
Yeah.
some of the trends
That's
so
right.
you know what and what not to do. I would think the first kind of trends I was talking about was like profile,
Yeah.
presentation
Yes.
trends.
Yes.
I would think
A lot of
the
information.
second thing is about topics of conversation in this initial phase where people are just talking, getting to know each other. While I know the process might seem monotonous because everybody's asking the
Yeah.
same questions, some of those questions are just what moved the needle forward in terms of people feeling safe enough to take it to the next level. So like you almost kind of got to look at it as its own world. Dating apps are,
Cool world.
dating online landia. And in dating online landia, these are the rules and regulations that guardrail conversations on people moving to the next level. So again, while here on Earth, it may not be something that we like to do because we don't really like monotony and
Yeah.
routine too much.
It's a good
On
point.
dating online landia, it has to be done.
Yeah, the physics of conversation
Yeah.
are different in online landing than they are the physics of conversation in IRL.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
a
you got
very
to
good
know what those
point.
things are. Again, as monotonous as they might seem, as cliche as they might seem, as boring as they might seem, it's just the language of I feel safe enough to, that I know enough about you where I feel comfortable moving to the next level. If that means taking it offline and just talking over the phone, or that actually means meeting, some of these questions help people
Yeah,
see you and feel
yeah,
safe.
yeah. If you say, "Listen, I'm done with all these regular schmegular questions. Let's just cut to the chase," and it's just like, "I,
Now
you're
you have some
angry."
people that are on that, but like you like to say, it's not a tried and true method.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna get a lot of more no's with that than you would have yeses. And why limit yourself so early in the game?
Yeah. When it's better for you also to establish that trust, that safety early also. You should be asking your own set of questions, from that script that a lot of us have to use in online dating. You should pull some of those questions. Do a search on that. What are like the top 10, 20 questions to ask? And obviously some of them are going to be super cheesy for you, but you find the ones that you can kind of build off of and create your own script. You know what I mean? That's how you create some game, have some game to spit.
Yeah, for sure. ChatGPT is here to help you nowadays, not just to run up the whole conversation through digital AI like influence, but I think generating some of these questions so that you're aware, safety is always a priority for you and the other person.
Priority A1,
Yeah,
especially when you're just meeting somebody. What you may find, obviously, is that what you're trying to do is your body is telling you, I see this person I'm attracted to. So we should naturally be moving towards living out that attraction.
yeah,
But you can't really just build off of chemistry like you can online, like you could do in real life. Obviously in IRL, if we've met at a party and the vibes are there, the music is great, everybody's been drinking, we vivacious and having a good time, things can happen. But online, like there has to be some kind of verbal exchange, whether it's, the words, the text, or y'all done got on the phone and talked before there's going to be any kind of bodily exchanges. So,
yeah, for
before
sure.
you get to that, I mean, there has to be, you got to establish that safety.
I agree.
And conversation is going to do that. So whether you like these, cliche questions or not, some of them are going to be necessary.
Yeah, I like that. They're a necessary step to get into a broader conversation too.
Yeah. And then we've talked about this before, but like, try to keep things lighthearted. I think that's one of the things that people either get wrong or they try to do too much too soon. And you feel like you got to be talking. It's like you
So, yeah,
feel
when
like
I
you
was
got to be
5,
talking about,
basically, my Teddy Ruxpin.
bro, but I've seen that though. And I think it's something that's promoted because online, right? The conversation is always around men not knowing how to talk about their feelings or what they think. And so I think a lot of times women are trying to push men to do that to see if they can be emotionally or psychologically engaging from the beginning. And not necessarily knowing, men treat their heart the way women treat their vagina. Like they're not just going to let anybody in. So for you to be trying to get that out the gate, you're going to mess up trying to make somebody be this way when they haven't
Show me.
built
Yes.
that kind of rapport with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Show me you're a freak. I just met you.
Right.
Yeah. Show me you can emote. I just met you.
Angela, I just met you. Tell me about your childhood. I just met you. Tell me about these traumas. And you like, ma'am, I would love to get there one day and be able to share that with you because I think that's something important that somebody should know about me. But why we got to talk about that today?
I
I'm
literally
just
just
meeting
met you.
you.
Yeah, this
We
goes
don't
back
have
to
no
the, you were saying the
rapport.
questions
Mm-hmm.
that lead to, broader questions or more interesting conversations. You have to step your way into it.
Yeah.
Love jacuzzis, but you don't just jump in.
Yeah, no.
No, you still put that toe in. You acclimate your body to that heat. And as you go down, your body's like, all right, adjusting, 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 adjusting. But once you just jump in there, your body be like, yeah, man.
Goes in a shock.
Yeah, you effed up.
Yeah, it could be a shock to the body.
I'm curious about this for yourself and in your dating adventures online. How much of your conversations, so you're building up, right? Managing your expectations. Now you're in these trends and you're having these conversations. How many of your conversations really, just general percentage, anecdotally, really converted to more sustainable interactions? And I define more sustainable interactions by either phone, FaceTime, video time, or IRL, meeting in real life.
Personally, more often than not. I mean, like I've told you before, over the last 2.5, 3 years, I was really using the apps more so for like field study, just talking to women, seeing how this, really trying to assess this whole topic or concept of the modern woman. And a lot of those conversations, well, I say that in juxtaposition to this. I'm the type of person who genuinely wants to have a significant connection with somebody based on something. So whether that's going to be we find out that we have shared interests musically, creatively, something like that, this person could become part of my circle forever. I don't necessarily connect with people or try to get to know people for them not to be a part of my life. So if I was conversing with somebody like that, it was for the intent of meeting them offline, not necessarily for anything romantic, but because I was just like, I want this
Your
person to
vibe.
be part of my circle in
Yeah,
some kind of way.
I'm willing to explore this as a friendship or beyond, but here are the steps I'm taking to get to that.
Right. So
So
more
you
often
were
than
definitely
not,
getting a lot more conversions,
oh yeah, for sure.
using air quotes for those who can't see the air quotes.
And I mean conversion in this defined as meeting up in real life.
Yes.
I got a lot of opportunities to meet women in real life because I guess I presented enough safety from the conversations that we were having, the questions I was asking, those kind of interview questions, and to even some of the just genuine curiosities I had about something that they had on their profile. That's really what kind of, I guess, got me to that point. A lot of them felt like, oh, he's genuinely curious because he's asking about things that I put on my profile. So a lot to them, that means, oh, he took the time to read this. He's actually serious about getting to know me.
Yeah. I had a homegirl. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say that was another thing I would say to guys trying to be successful. Yo, read the profile so you got something to talk about. They trying to give you game or some access points on what to be curious about for them. I think a lot of women do that in their profile. They tell you about these things because they want you to ask about them. And if you've read it and you ask about it, they're like, oh, he's actually really curious. I think those are the opportunities that end up becoming, well, we could take this offline. We could talk offline or we can meet type of thing.
Yeah. I've heard that before from women. They are presenting a certain mask online and, they're waiting for guys to kind of help them remove the mask to show, I'm safe and we're safe. And dudes are just getting ready to, let's meet up. Where you at? UID, ASL, all of the age, sex, location, AOL days. I'm dating myself. They just getting right to the right to business. And it's just like, all right, you don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
You don't even know what I'm about. You don't even know what harm I could do to you.
Mm-hmm. And obviously they're not thinking about it.
No, I've heard people on the apps be like, yo, two nights of texting and she's in the, we at the telly, we at the joint, we doing our thing. And for some people who are on there moving to be a little bit more conscious of who they are in their bodies, they're trying to navigate it a different way.
They may not be, bro.
No, I'm just saying for those who are. No.
I got you.
For those who are.
No, for those who are.
Yeah.
But and I would say that's the reason why a lot of that happens is because sex is the easiest thing for people to do. Connecting physically, intimately is the easiest thing to do. So a lot of people are using it just to connect physically, and it's easy for them to do that because, if both of us are just trying to run to the store and get a quart of water, we could do that any given time. But if we actually got a grocery list, that requires more money. That means we got to stand in line. We can't just do the self checkout. So it
Yeah,
requires a
that's
lot
15
more
items or less. Yeah.
effort. Yeah. And I think, this is the reason why I tell some of my female friends to be careful with online dating, because there are a lot of men who figured out how to leverage it for that. They've learned how to say the right things to get women interested, to come off appealing, and they will have them really thinking like, oh yeah, this could be something. You take them out for a few dates. Sometimes they're so wowed by you being so nice. They're ready to give it up. Second, third date, you beat. Before you know it, the dude's trying to tiptoe out the next morning. You're like, well, wait, where are you going? My girl is home waiting on me. She's making breakfast. So I really wanted to be home before, she was done with breakfast.
What
So it's
girlfriend?
hot when you never told me well, yeah, I mean, she knows about you, but you didn't need to know about her, or you know about her, but she doesn't need to know about you. Whatever the conversation is, I try to,
Lie of
you
the
know,
day.
I try to tell a lot of my female friends like, yo, be careful on there, because a lot of dudes have learned how to navigate that for specifically for that outcome, and they're good at making you think, oh, they're a good guy, they got good intentions, and again, before you know it,
Wash, rinse, repeat.
where are my panties? How did
Exactly. You said dude is going like, I'll definitely hit you up later.
never hear from him again?
More like, you should have gave me the line from Scarface, see you at the resurrection. Because that's the next time you go see.
And then they're back on the hamster wheel again until that happens again. Or I mean, I've had to school male friends about the same thing. Like, yo, you got some girls on here that act like, oh, I really want to get to know you, but they can only get to know you if you taking them to Noble, or if you're taking them to a 5-star. That's hey man, people out here with a whole lot of schemes and scams, and hey man, y'all gotta be clued in out here.
You got to be included in order to move forward.
You gotta be clued in.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Got to be included.
Part
to move forward.
Part of that success is, like you said, knowing what you're there for, and being able to see the signs when other people are, like you like to call it, Hollywooding and parading and acting like they have more genuine, more long-term intentions when they really don't. That's also part of success. Not just getting what you want, but also avoiding what you don't want. That's also part of success.
That is true. That's a great point. We're getting to the close. So I want to have for you, when you meet somebody in real life off a dating app, what is your protocol, or what protocol do you recommend? I know you don't like to be prescriptive, but since we're doing this podcast, I think we have to be general, or some tried and true methods. That's my favorite phrase. The go-tos that work typically based on research and at least anecdotal evidence. For you, what is the best way to present yourself once you're making that transition to an in-person meetup, in-person get-together?
It's been so long. I mean, I haven't had dating apps on my phone probably for like the last 8-10 months, almost a year now. But for me, it just kind of used to be, if I'm going to meet somebody, obviously outdoors where there's a lot of traffic, it's going to be something low effort. It doesn't matter how attracted to them I was prior to us meeting. And when I say low effort, it's going to be like a walk, maybe a Starbucks type of meetup, something like that. Because like I said, it doesn't matter what the attraction was. Everything really starts when I meet you in real life. All of the conversations we had prior to that, I don't want to say they're not real, but now you're a real person, and I get to actually see if all of the stuff you were espousing to, or what you were telling me.
You cussing out the way. You said you were patient.
Yeah. Or I find out that the pictures you had up were really from 5 years ago, and you like twice that size. It could be anything. It could be anything. But I just really feel like, to take the pressure off of it, we talked about this before, really doing meetups. And again, regardless of what the attraction was prior to that, taking the pressure off of what can happen. I say it often when I first meet somebody. This was a great idea to meet up this way. And I try not to say the word date. If they say it, I go back to my language and reiterate, this is a meetup, because I personally don't want there to be any expectation on me moving forward that I'm not comfortable with. So I try to keep it as low effort as possible. And once I assess, all right, this is somebody I want to put some energy and effort and time into to get to know, and actually hoping it goes somewhere, That's a different story, but not that first meetup.
Mm.
I need some time to get to know you. I want to, and I mean, here's the thing. We may find out that when we get together, there's like extreme chemistry, but we can't just move off of that. That's how people end up in situationships and just sleeping around. And, you know, while you may, I'm listen, we're all grown adults. That's probably going to happen, you know, 20% of the time. You're going to at least find one or two people that you may connect with strong chemistry like that from the beginning, but you can't just do that with everybody because it's so easy to just move off of chemistry.
Yeah. And that can
20
be disastrous.
STIs, 20 STIs later, you like,
You man said 20 STIs
what I'm
later.
saying, man, when you got people out here moving like that, hey, man,
Yeah.
that shit, it gets real. It gets real.
It does. We're out of time. And I wanted to thank you for just sharing some of these insights and tips for how to navigate dating apps, because I do think from our conversations and from the experiences you've shared with me, what we've talked about in the past, people you've introduced me to, friends, and that you've genuine friendships you've created with women from the apps. Obviously, you have been successful in ways in which some men are struggling. And I think a lot of the advice you gave was important for men to hear and for women to hear, for people who are spending a lot of times on apps, because that's, for a lot of people, especially the busy professional, the only outlet they really have time for at this juncture. And for some people, it's become a safe way of vetting people, because the in-person at times now has become risky, especially coming out of a pandemic world. So thank you. And with that said, guys, this is another episode of Save the Date. Check us out at Save the Date Now on Instagram and TikTok. And until next time, thank you. I'm Heath.
I'm Jamie, y'all. Peace.
Take care.